What do you glean from my words and maybe a card about this scene?
Okay, so in my head, painting the picture, I saw two energy balls. Okay, so
Okay.
just in my head,
Okay.
two energy balls, so two people.
Okay.
And because I saw two energies and they were bright balls, but then they died down, so it has to do with not just the idea that it's Lover's Lane and maybe some trice happened here, but it's more than that. Because by the dying of the two globes would mean two dead people.
Welcome to Seeing Dead People, the slow burn storytelling podcast where our host, Nicola, challenges her psychic friend Darcy to communicate with the dead and unravel historical ghost stories, unsolved true crime mysteries, and all things paranormal. If you want to be spooked, amazed, and entertained, stick around for an astonishing, deep dive convo with the spirits on the other side.
And now, RadioSidney presents Seeing Dead People, Episode 32, Murder in Lover's Lane. Hey, Darcy. Hello, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. Welcome to, as you were saying to me, a Chinese New Year's.
Yes.
January, what is it, 29th, 2023.
Yeah.
Wow. Seeing Dead People going ahead in another year.
It is.
Great. And I had already planned, Darcy, to do something a little different today. I was going to hold back a lot of information and focus on the photographs. Darcy arrives and has something else to offer as an idea. So go for it, Darcy. What do you say?
Okay, so I came in and I asked Nicola if we could, instead of me looking at the pictures and going through them, not knowing she had held back information, and I never look at the pictures until I'm in front of her or we're up on Zoom, I brought my tarot cards, and I thought maybe the cards can tell us the story of what's going on.
I can't imagine the tarot cards can do anything like that. So this is going to be really cool, I got to say. So Darcy's sitting there with a pile of tarot cards. Maybe quickly just explain to our audience what a tarot card deck is about, just so we know what we're talking about.
Okay, so I have with me Tarot at the End of the Rainbow.
Good.
And it is by Los Gabriel.
Okay.
And it's a really colorful deck. There are 78 cards in it. 21 of them are the major arcana, and the rest of them wands, cups, coins or pentacles, and swords are the minor. And inside of the minor, there is ace to king, just like in a playing card deck.
Okay.
And so each of the cards represent something. So what I'm hoping is by using the deck today, like I do with my people who come for readings, that they'll tell the story.
Okay.
So we're going to see what happens, and if not, I'll jump to the pictures.
Right. Okay. And so this works for you when you're talking to people to do your psychic readings?
Yeah, when I'm just doing psychic readings, yes.
Far out. If I picked up one of those cards, would that be inappropriate?
No.
I just want to see what they look like.
If I'll do this.
Oh, the old choose a card
Choose
thing.
a card.
This is like a card trick. Okay, card trick number 1. It says 20, I think.
Yep. That's number 20, which is, and so this is good because I already get a peek into what's going on.
Get out of here.
This is the story of a triangle. And there's one person pulling the strings, and there's these other 3 people.
So you're saying it's a triangle and a 4th person?
Yes.
So there's 4 people.
Well, yes and no, because I think there's more people in play here.
More people in play than just the 4?
Yep.
Okay. Cool. And that's quite a colorful, you're right, quite a colorful card. And it depicts, I'll just tell the audience so they have an idea. It has a depiction of, well, people, elfy looking people, like from The Hobbit or something. One guy, I think a guy's playing a harp, and there's just, looks like 3 gals in the background on a rock or a tree. That's it, tree stump. So it's very colorful. There's reds and purples and golds, very nicely drawn.
Okay, so I did have to look because I'm used to having the name of the card on here, and I should learn them. But this is judgment.
Oh,
this card is all about judgment.
Good grief. Okay, cool. Number 1, judgment. Okay, so today, Darcy, we're going to look into, or try to look into, a famous unsolved crime which occurred in Somerset County, North Central New Jersey, 1922. This is going to be a challenge, as I said, because I was going to hold off telling you much at all, and I was just going to lay out the characters, show you their faces, and tell you a first name and let you tell us their story. So I'll continue to do that, and we'll see what your cards tell us. Okay? I'm not going to tell you who the victim or victims were, who the suspects were, or who the witnesses were based on my cast of characters. That's what you're going to divine, I hope, for us. Okay? First, I'll set the scene. As I mentioned, we're in New Jersey, the fall of 1922. At the time, it's a sleepy mix of rural and town, okay, where not much happened until Saturday morning, September 16th. So in our first photograph that our listeners and I can see, it's a black and white picture of a rural road. It's called DeRussey's Lane. It's better known as the local Lover's Lane in Somerset County. So it's just a dirt lane. It's bordered by hedgerows. I'll try to describe it a little more since you're not looking at it, Darcy. So it's bordered by hedgerows. It's also got very distinguishing feature of these telephone poles with multiple horizontal slats along the top of them stretching into the background. What could you possibly glean from my words and whatever card you might draw as to what might have happened on DeRussey's, aka Lover's Lane?
Okay, well, I always go to the bottom of the deck when I'm doing a reading because it tells me.
And you've already shuffled the cards a number of times while we were sitting here chatting before we started. Okay.
And I shuffled them again because you picked a card. So I need to integrate it back into the deck.
Okay.
So the first thing I pick is Two of Cups, and here represents forbidden love because it's a man on land and a mermaid in the water, so it's forbidden love. And so that tells me right there that there are two people who should never be together, are together, and maybe society will frown down upon them, but one is important. And it's funny because cups also represent emotions. So when I'm looking at the cups, I think they're very passionate about each other, but there's something hidden under the water, not just the fact she's a mermaid, and it shows her as such because her tail's out of the water with the color of the rainbows attached to it.
Right.
But there's something different about this because he makes me think of Irish, but I'm going to leave that right now.
Okay.
So I'm going to leave you in suspense.
Okay. And I'm just going to help the audience out a little bit and myself because Darcy's using the word cup as a thing you would drink out of.
Yes.
Now, I'm new to this tarot card business, so cups kind of threw me off there. So now I understand these like two golden chalices these characters have in this little card.
Yes. And the cups are emotions.
I fill my cup.
Yeah, I fill my cup and the emotion of the cup, but it's also like if you look at the element of the cup, it's also water.
Okay.
So giving of one's faith or giving of one's breath here.
Okay, well, we know so much about in the Christian religion of the chalice, the cup, the body of Christ in the cup, drinking the blood of Christ from the cup. Yeah, so I can see, now I get the cup chalice idea. If they'd used the word chalice, I would have twigged a little more quickly, but cup is just such a generic term.
It is.
It's not cool enough to be in a tarot card, to me.
And then if you take this and you equate it to a deck of cards, cups is hearts.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay, that's what you say full of. Okay, I get it. All right, cool. So now we're going to get picture number 2, which I'm going to describe to you. All right. It is a location just off this Lover's Lane, and it's black and white, daylight, and there are 2 trees that are prominent. Otherwise, it's a lot of scrub brush. An open area in the middle, but 2 trees that are prominent. In particular, there's a crabapple tree on the left and some kind of, I don't know, oak or dying-looking, taller, not-so-foliaged tree on the right, and there's an opening in the middle. What do you glean from my words and maybe a card about this scene?
Okay, so in my head, painting the picture, I saw 2 energy balls. Okay, so just in my head, 2 energy balls, so 2 people.
Okay.
Okay, so we're still back to the 2 people.
And here comes the card.
And this is the wheel. Okay, and the wheel represents, in this card, it's a rock wheel with some hieroglyphics on it.
Right, yeah.
There is call him a fairy angel behind with his wings, and he's looking down, so he's looking at something in front of him.
Okay.
So there also has to be a vehicle in this scene.
Okay.
Okay, because the wheel would indicate for me a vehicle.
Okay.
Okay. And because I saw two energies and they were bright balls, but then they died down, so it has to do with not just the idea that it's Lover's Lane and maybe some trice happened here, but it's more than that. Because by the dying of the two globes would mean two dead people.
Okay, and that wheel in the card that Darcy's showing me looks to me kind of like a stone, segmented stone like you'd see in a patio.
Yes.
Very cool looking. Okay, that's getting very good there, Darcy.
Okay. I think of this guy as someone who captures souls.
Okay.
Because if you look here and here from a distance, it looks like two people.
Darcy's now showing me, I'm going to have to take photographs. Can I take photographs of these? Okay, I'll take photographs of these and we'll pop them up instead of perhaps in addition to the photos we have. So she's showing me this elfin kind of leprechaun looking guy because he's got an Irish leprechaun hat. He's leaning on the wheel, which is standing upright, and behind him are his wings, and in his center of his wings, like a butterfly, are really two faces. Oh my God, even I can see that.
Okay.
Once you showed me to it. Okay, so you're saying two individuals died here. Okay, I'm going to move you to the next photograph, or us to the next photograph. It's a photograph of closer to that center area where that wheel would have been, I guess. So we have the crabapple tree behind us. It's black and white. We have 5 guys looking down on the ground. What do you get from them? These look like, I would say, they're investigators of some sort.
Yes, which would explain this guy standing there with his hands looking down because he's looking at something.
Absolutely, and that's what these 5 guys are doing.
And-
okay, so now I'm going to really hone in on what actually happened here, Darcy. And you're not going to see it, so I can tell you it's a graphic picture. Would you like to tell me what it is before I tell you what it is? Pull that card up.
Okay.
How could it possibly relate on a card? I don't get this. Okay, on a deck.
I need 2.
You need 2. Why do you need 2?
Because one's going to represent the barrenness, like that coldness that goes with death.
Okay.
But before the death, there was the celebration. We're going to run away together. Okay.
We're going
to go away together, and I'm getting goosebumps. So we're going away.
I'm getting
together.
goosebumps. You're just
There's this rejoicing like I've never in all my life felt this kind of passion. And I'm married, so, and I don't mean me personally, but these people.
Wow.
I'm married, and I don't have this kind of spark, this kind of relationship.
with my spouse.
That's right.
Ah.
So I have 2 people, obviously, for me, male and female.
Yeah, right.
Okay. But because if I go back to the first card,
Yep.
this idea of forbidden love,
Right.
love that should never join together. So there's something unique. And I'm looking to see skin color because that will be in 1922.
Yeah.
That would have been a big thing if
Yeah.
it had been different skin colors.
Right. Yep. Absolutely.
But they're not. They're both Caucasian.
Get out of here.
He's wearing something different. And it's weird because he doesn't have the top hat like I would have thought someone of nobility
Yep.
would have had.
Right.
You know, like higher up in
Yeah.
food chain.
Yep.
He's more simple, more his position would, whatever he was, maybe he was a doctor, a lawyer, he sat in a position where he looked after a flock of people. Like those were his
Literally his
people.
fault. Okay.
Okay. But to see these 2 people together, that should have been a no-no.
Okay.
Okay, not just because I feel they're both married. And I'm trying to pull back, but he's got an overcoat on. And I think she does too. Looks like she's wearing, it comes to below her knee, so maybe it's a dress or a skirt.
Mm-hmm.
He's, oh my God, I don't suppose he's not a Catholic priest, right?
Crap. You're so close, it's sickening.
Okay, because it's like all of a sudden I saw the Pope put his
He's
on
a
his head.
minister, but not a Catholic minister.
Okay, so Protestant.
Yeah,
something?
Anglican something. Yeah, right.
Okay, but it was funny because I saw the Pope literally reach out and put this thing on his head, and I'm thinking, but he's laying face down. Both of them are. Like I don't want to see their faces.
Okay.
Okay, but there's still a. It's like touching each other, but Wait a minute. There they are.
Darcy's now pulled
A
the next card. So you haven't told us about the other second card, but go ahead to the new one. That's okay. Go back to that in a second.
The Six of Cups are a couple
Right.
sitting in a garden with flowers, and one's touching the other more in an intimate way, like a husband and wife, but these people aren't husband and
Okay,
wife.
right.
Okay. And when I look at this, I think that they tried to keep that shroud, and there's the other choice of word for me,
Yeah.
that shroud around us that no one knows what we're doing.
Right.
But like these flower cups above, someone always knows what we're doing.
Okay.
Always. Now this.
Yeah, now that
come
is
back
the fourth
into
card you drew.
The Three of Wands. Okay. This tells me that he is in a position because of, I should have really looked, because it's like his crown.
Yeah.
Okay. His crown, his cloak, this is his domain.
Okay, so describe the card. We have a man, looks like a Viking kind of guy from the back.
Yeah.
He's got a helmet with horns sticking up. So that's your idea of the Pope putting the thing on his head?
On his
So
head.
somebody with a position of some sort?
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
religious perhaps?
I didn't actually look
Yeah,
at
no, I know. You had
the
it covered
card.
up by the other card. Okay.
And when I look at it now, this is a person who, it's like being the leader of a clan.
Yeah.
There's
Okay.
the word I really was looking for. So he is really
Okay.
there. And this is a celebration because inside this leader of a clan, people are supposed to celebrate life.
Okay.
Okay.
You're like just killing it. And you're killing me at the same time.
Okay.
By just drawing cards from a deck. Like, I don't know, the old spine tingles happening. All right, I'm going to just tell you that photograph that I'm looking at that you're not seeing but describing very well is of two dead bodies, man and a woman. Now, the interesting thing is you said that they were face down because you didn't want to see their faces, but that's not right, but you're almost right. The man's face is covered by his hat, and it's not a top hat, it's a Panama hat. A bit of a different hat, okay. He's wearing a coat, overcoat, whatever. The gal is beside him. She's wearing, it looks like dress. It's a very poor, fuzzy photograph, and it's probably a good thing because they're dead. But you nailed the idea that there was a proximity, a closeness to them. They've been posed. Say it, go ahead, just kill me.
One touching the shoulder, the other one touching the thigh in an intimate
Get out of here. Oh my God, Darcy, this is exactly, the man is lying down and she is on his right-hand side. His right arm is under her shoulder, her left shoulder, touching her. Her left hand is reached across and put over his knee.
Are you sure it's his knee?
What are you saying?
I'm saying thigh.
Well, actually,
in
thigh.
that-
It's not far
because
enough down.
When I brought this over, I felt
You went to thigh. Actually, when I look at it, it is thigh more than knee. So,
yeah, because that's my more intimate. Like I'm showing people that the hand on the shoulder from the male represents ownership,
Right.
and the thigh represents intimacy.
see and love, yeah, touching, like
Yeah.
a real caress. Well, you're right. It is a thigh. Ugh, I can't believe it.
And if you look at this card, she is to the right of him.
Okay, so I'm looking at this. Oh, these are such cute little cards. So these cards are like elfy kind of people.
Yes,
Okay, the
very
whole
elfin.
fairy idea is the cards are fairy descriptions. Gotcha. And so the man and the woman are, yeah. Oh my God, they're together. And as you say, the flowers in the background indicate others might know about this.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Well, I don't know. So you're just blowing away all the text that I have here, Darcy. So we'll just move on. Something interesting was found between the two bodies.
Okay.
Have you any idea what might that have been?
Okay. It's not a flower. I think it's like it's got a roughness to it, so it's not material.
Okay.
I don't think it's a coin. I don't suppose it is a gun, is it?
No.
Okay. But they were shot.
We haven't got there yet.
Okay. Okay, I'm feeling like it's like a coin, a piece of paper, like there's some sort of texture to it. Oh.
Okay.
But
Do you see more than one?
Yeah, there's two things, because like tickets or something, because when I go down, I can see one is a little clearer, but the other one seems a little more to the side.
Okay.
Okay, but I just can't pinpoint what it is.
Can you pinpoint a location for one of them in particular? Is it in an odd, I mean, there's some things between the bodies and there's
Okay.
something somewhere else.
Is one of them like here, like the waistline area?
Between the two bodies? Yes.
Okay, and is the other one, okay, the right side of my head is tingling.
Okay.
But that's not where I thought it was.
It's not where it is.
Okay, I thought it was under something, like under her, under the skirt, under something.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you about that in a bit. One thing I can hold back. Okay.
All right.
There were torn bits of paper
Okay, so
between the two of them. The texture, so you had the texture right, quite a few bits of paper. Can you envision what those bits of paper might have been?
I either thought it was a ticket or a schedule to something, like a train schedule, a plane schedule, something like that.
Okay.
Or wait a minute, because the Bible. And I'll say that the reason I said that is I looked here, and this is a crossroad, a guy standing at a crossroad.
Hold it. You're picking up another card,
Yeah.
and the card is?
Oh, sorry. It is I think it's the knight or page of coins
Okay.
or pentacles. And there's a crossroad here.
Yeah.
Okay. And he's holding on to the pentacle, because some of this is based on not just anger, but it's also based on money.
Okay.
The death. But this, I always refer, when I talk to people, I refer to this as the Bible.
Okay.
So it could be a piece of scripture.
Okay. All right. I will hold that back for a bit. The second bit that was interesting or really bizarre, there was a calling card. Nowadays we would call it a business card.
Okay.
But it was a calling card, and it was carefully placed against the shoe of one of the man's feet. Very obviously placed there.
Like right beside it.
Right, being held up by the shoe, propped against it.
So are they trying to make this look like a mob hit?
I don't know. Don't know.
Okay.
Okay, well, that's okay. We'll keep moving on. You're doing amazingly well. So the bodies were discovered in this pose under this crabapple tree, okay, by a young couple on Saturday morning on the 16th of September. So they got the police. The police quickly determined that the victims had been,
Murdered?
yes, yes. And how had they been murdered?
Shot?
Yes. And how did you know that?
Because the flash of light that keeps going off in my head.
Okay, and are there more flashes of light for one of them versus the other? As in, was one shot more often than the other, or were they shot the same, whatever?
I know one was shot what I would refer to as executional style. Okay, the other one, I am only seeing 3 shots, so possibly 3 times. Oh, sorry, 3 shots altogether.
Okay. I'll tell you about the man. First, they were determined they were shot very close range. Now, this is 1922, so, forensics is probably not the greatest, but I'm sure they could tell by maybe powder burns or something.
Yeah.
Very close range. So that would indicate, presumably, that they were perhaps known to the perpetrator. The man was shot once, as you said, execution style, okay? The woman was shot 3 times.
Oh, so it was 3.
So there's you're hearing the 3 rather than the individual
Yeah.
1. She was shot under the right eye, over the right temple, and near the right ear. So all punctured really in the same similar area on her head. All right? They think she possibly was standing when she was murdered. Her brown silk scarf was somewhere on her body, and I'm just wanting to see if you can see something else happen to her other than being shot. Can you see anything else on this woman?
Thought she might have been tied up or even strangled.
Yeah, she wasn't tied up, but she was actually had her throat slashed.
Oh.
And so, yeah, strangulation, I could see you could say that perhaps because her scarf was tied around her neck to hide the wound, okay? She had been savagely slashed in the throat, as well as shot 3 times. Seems a bit of an overkill to me.
Because I'm angry at this person.
Damn straight I'm angry at this person.
And I would have said this came before the shots.
The throat?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know if they knew that.
Because what I'm feeling is this is first, and these are out of damn you, damn you, damn you.
Really? Oh
Yeah.
my God. Well, the crime scene examination was pretty tainted by the lack of the police controlling the area. So we had lots of people suddenly arriving, trampling around everything. And they're not only trampling around, they're picking stuff up. So they picked up the pieces of paper, they took the calling card, they handed it around amongst themselves, so fingerprints everywhere. They even stripped the bark off the crabapple tree as some kind of memento of this event. So not well handled, shall we say. I was going to now show you our cast of characters.
Okay.
I will still do that.
I may actually want to look at
Well, I
the
was just
cast
going to
of
say, why don't you
characters.
look at the images so you can see these
Okay.
people, okay? The first one will be image number 5. And I want to keep your cards in some semblance in order so I know where we are. Okay. Good. This is amazing. I can't believe how you can get any of this stuff from cards. There you go. You got it. Okay. Image number 5. So I'm just going to give you first names only. Image number 5 is a man. He's quite congenial looking, I could say. He's William. Okay. Do you want to take a card for William, or you want to think about William, or what do you want to do? Tell me who William is.
William is part of the party.
What does that mean?
He's one of two. Like, to me, he should be one of the victims.
Okay. All right. Let's have a look at the next image. That's number 6, and this is like a cheeky looking gal.
Before I do that,
All right.
I'm going to rewind what I just
Okay.
said because I'm still looking at him. But he is connected to her somehow, to the lady. Okay.
And when you say the lady, you mean the
just a
dead
minute.
lady?
No.
Take your time here, Darcy, because it's complicated, I know. You want to draw a family tree?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Okay, so I take back that he's one of the victims.
Okay, good.
Okay, I'm taking that back.
We'll accept that.
There's still energy coming off of this picture of
Okay.
still being alive. Now, I think he's connected either to the lady who died.
Mm-hmm.
Is it Mary by any chance?
No.
Okay, is there a Mary in this?
No.
MMM. Okay, we're going to
Okay,
have to hold
yep.
on to that.
Okay.
But I feel like he is either connected, and I'll know better when I see the lady victim,
Yep.
because when I look at him, the guy on the ground doesn't have this hair. You know, this guy has what looks like
Yes,
curly
good hair, yeah.
Excellent hair for his.
Yeah, for his age. He's like his
and
40
The other
something.
guy doesn't feel like he has a mustache. He's more plain.
Okay, all right.
Okay. And when I first said yes, I thought it was him. I heard someone say no, wrong initial. So I went,
okay. All right.
So wrong initial.
Okay, tell me about the card you drew then. It was of 2 people, and it's a sword card?
No, it's a wand card. It's the
Wand
4
card.
wands.
Okay, 4
And
wands.
this is normally someone who's married.
Okay.
Okay, so I would say he is married.
Mm-hmm.
And because we have the priest and we have the married lady, I'm not 100% sure, but I think it may be her husband.
Okay, we'll just go. It's really unfair to have you try to divine things just from one image. So we'll walk through them all so you get a sense of your characters.
Okay.
Okay, so image number 6 is Jane. And she's really cheeky looking, in my opinion.
Yeah.
What do you think of Jane?
Well, she's got sad eyes.
Oh, okay.
And she has the hair, I would have said, I was looking for.
Okay.
Okay, and the hat.
Okay.
She's older than I thought she would be. But then again, times then were rough, so it's hard to say if that has something to do with where she grew up.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. You still got a few people to meet.
Okay. Now, I'm going to hold a little more off on her because I don't know if that's the lady on the ground, though.
Okay. Well, that's okay.
Okay.
Why don't you let's introduce you to everybody before you start to slide. Okay. So next photo, number 7, is Edward.
He's the guy on the ground.
Edward's the guy on the ground.
Yeah, because that's more the youth look I'm looking for.
Okay. All right. Excellent. All right. Now moving on to a more dapper looking fellow, I would say, in photo number 8. I'm calling him Harry. His real name is Henry, but we already have another Henry you'll see in a minute. So they called him Harry, so I'm calling him Harry. What do you think about Mr. Dapper Harry?
Is he related to number 5?
Number 5 is Willie,
Yeah.
and yes, he is related.
So they're brothers.
No, They are related, but they're not brothers.
But
But
they're
you'll
not
get a
brothers.
sense of what I mean. When
Okay.
I'm not surprising you
Wait a
say
minute.
that.
Are they brother-in-laws?
No,
Oh,
no.
wow.
Okay.
Okay. But,
Now moving on to photo number 9,
Oh.
Eleanor.
wait a minute.
She's got very soulful dark eyes, Eleanor.
Just I gotta wait for.
Yeah. Wait for them to load up.
Oh, I may have to open my internet.
Oh, here, I'll show you my Eleanor.
Oh, she's very pretty.
Isn't she?
Oh, she's gorgeous.
Very soulful eyes.
Yeah. So she is, strangely enough, where the other one looks sad and lonely and needs the energy to make her feel young and beautiful, this one doesn't.
Okay.
This one knows who she is.
Oh, cool. All right. We're not finished yet. So our next up is another gentleman, and his
Okay.
name is Henry. He's in image number 10.
All right.
Can you find image 10? I'll show it to you. There you go. There's Henry.
Okay. This is going to be a little confusing because isn't the lady who died married to one of those two with the H's?
Not yet. No.
Okay.
Okay. You haven't met them
Because
all
I'm-
yet? Okay.
You mean there's more?
There's 2 more to go. All right. Second to last is Frances. There she is.
Ooh.
Severe looking gal.
Yeah, very matriarchal.
Matriarchal. Yeah, good terminology. Black and white
Yeah.
pick of her. And last, and I should say not least, is James. He to me looks sort of puzzled.
Oh, he looks like a businessman, someone who basically knows where he's going and what he's doing, may not be happy with it, but
Okay, so that's our cast of characters now. How would you like to play this? Do you want to draw some cards about them? Because I want you to first tell me either who the victims were, or we'll go through the grouping and you say who you think each one was. First, who are the victims? You immediately
Edward.
said the number.
Edward.
Edward. Okay, so you're saying number 7 is Edward. He's the victim. You are correct there.
okay. And can I see the ladies again? Because
Yes, I'll show you the ladies. So here we go with,
I thought it was the first lady.
here's Jane. Okay, and ignore the date because it could be
Yeah.
wrong. Here's Eleanor. And our third gal, Frances.
Well, I know it's not Frances.
Okay.
She's not dead on the ground.
Okay.
Is that
Okay.
correct?
It's correct. Yes. So we have
Oh, I'm
Eleanor or
torn.
Jane. It's interesting that they're not telling you who's dead and who's not.
The hard part is they're both dead right now.
They're all dead.
I'm actually inclined to say it's Jane. But there's a piece of me that wants to pick Eleanor so bad, but it's hard because she's already dead. Like her history's already extended itself. Can I see, let's see if I can bring him up now. There he is. Look to him. I think it's Jane.
Okay. It's not Jane.
It's not, it is Eleanor.
It is Eleanor. Yes.
But then how does Jane figure into this? Because
This is
there's
what
a
you are supposed to figure out for me, but I'll
Okay.
work on. We'll work towards it, okay? So first, finding out who these people were. Go ahead.
Is Jane the wife of,
No.
but she's somehow connected
She
to
is connected.
these two people?
She's connected to the situation.
Yeah, because like as though she's had a hand in it somehow.
I won't tell you just yet.
Okay.
Okay? So we had a difficulty determining the identity of
The
one of the
female.
couple, the female. The male was quite simple because number 1, he was fairly well known, and the calling card was at his feet, had his name on it, Edward Hall, Reverend of the local church.
It was
Okay?
his name.
So also nearby was a .32 caliber bullet, so presumably that's what was used to shoot and kill these people, and the old trusty 2-foot length of iron pipe was also nearby. Okay, the deaths were determined to have been occurred about 36 hours before, so sometime Thursday night to Friday morning. Okay, because they were discovered on Saturday morning. Okay, but in the middle of the night, late, like between midnight and 2 a.m. roughly, is what they're guessing they were killed. The female was found to be eventually Eleanor Mills. So she's younger. Edward's 41. Eleanor's 34. She was a local choir singer in the church.
Okay.
Okay? It appears that Eleanor and Edward were engaged in an illicit, passionate, and as you thought earlier, adulterous affair. They were both married to someone else. Okay, and we saw their pictures, and I'll explain who they are. And yes, you had said earlier on that the Flowers were overlooking this situation, and and you even said that at the very beginning. It was known, the affair was known by others, and that's true. They thought perhaps that their affair was secret, but it wasn't. The bits of paper, as I mentioned, turned out to be love letters and cards. So, and you said you talked so strongly about the spark between the two of them, the passion between the two of them that they hadn't felt with anyone else. Well, I can give you a little tiny hint of how passionately in love they were. I would say their lust was pretty hot, because here's an example of what one of the love letters said, and I'm presuming it's from the gal to the guy based on the flowery language. So here we go. Oh, honey, I am fiery today, burning, flaming love. It seems ages since I saw my babykin's body and kissed every bit of you. So that's how the two of them felt about one another.
That's from him to her.
You think so?
Absolutely.
Okay, I just said was the woman, but you think it's the guy?
It's the guy.
It's the guy.
Babykin.
Babykins a guy would call a gal and not vice versa.
Yeah.
You think?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I would think you'd know them better than I would. So let's just sum up here. We have two cold-bloodedly murdered people by persons I think must have known them, because they approached very closely in order to shoot them. And then after they shockingly and noisily killed them, the killers calmly and callously posed the two bodies in, as you mentioned, a new, without my telling you, a suggestive manner, seemingly wishing to flaunt the lovers' affections for one another. Now, if I were the killer, I might want these folks to be punished, because I'm thinking the killer's somebody related to them, right? So I want them to be punished by me, but not just by me, but by everybody who knew them. So that might be why I would pose them in death, because I want everybody to know they were having an affair. Would you agree with that?
I would agree with that. The posing was definitely to bring to the forefront that these two people were involved, and if you didn't know it, now you do.
Yeah, and it was wrong to be involved.
Yes.
This is a stigma they're putting onto these families now into the future. So there was one more indignity committed on Eleanor's body. In the numbers, before you look at 17, or if you've seen it, I'm just wondering, we talked about her throat. Have a look at 17 and tell us what 17 is telling you, what that image tells us, and what do you think of it? It's an autopsy diagram.
She had it. Well, okay, didn't see that. They cut her tongue out.
Ah, that's right. Yes, I wondered if you got that.
No, I never picked that up.
Okay, so that photograph shows us where the bullets were entering the body. So center of the head, as you said, the execution shot, right side of the head, right side of right eye, throat cut right to the back of the neck, and as you mentioned from seeing this, the really surprising thing to me was her tongue was cut out, and I thought, okay, that was only discovered much later, but I looked it up because I thought that's a particularly spiteful and nasty thing to do, right? That's really deliberate, to go in after somebody when they're dead or whatever and cut their tongue out. So it must mean something. So I looked it up, but I'm wondering, what do you think it means?
Well, I'm thinking that you cut out the tongue, it's about being a liar, falsehood, all of that.
Right, exactly. I looked up for fun under Swami Google about the biblical references, because I think there had to be one for cutting out the tongue, and it's Proverbs 10:31 that says, "The mouth of the righteous brings forth wisdom, but the perverse tongue will be cut off." And obviously that Eleanor's involved in a perverse, i.e. illicit, adulterous relationship with this man.
Yeah.
And she has to have her tongue cut out. But what I get really ticked off about Darcy is, why is the woman punished more than the man? He's just as much involved, and yet she's the one who gets 3 shots to the head, throat cut, tongue cut out.
Yeah.
Why is society always
Blaming.
blaming women more than men?
It's hard to say. I don't get it either.
Okay. That really bugs me. But okay, so the investigation wasn't well done. There isn't any real evidence pointing to anyone in particular yet, okay? And it was complicated by jurisdictional issues because the bodies were right where 2 counties meet. So that makes it complicated. But now we know that 3 of the characters I'm going to let you know 3 of the characters at least,
But
have a relationship.
yeah, because it should be Francis,
Francis,
Harry, number 5. It should be William and Harry.
okay, look at Henry and Harry. So number 10
Just a minute.
and number 8.
I'll see. There's Harry,
Yeah,
Francis.
and number 10 is Henry.
Number 10. Do I not have number 10? I don't have number 10.
Break. Here's number 10. There's
Oh.
Henry.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I'm going to show you Harry.
Yeah.
They're very similar,
But,
don't you think?
and William was.
And William is way over here.
Isn't he connected too?
Yeah. So the basic fundamental thing is William, Henry,
Yeah.
and Francis are siblings.
Okay.
Harry is related. He's the first cousin.
Okay, so that's why he looks alike.
Exactly. And he does look
and
a lot
it doesn't
like him.
help that Henry and Harry
Have the same
H.
name. Yes. These 3 siblings are incredibly wealthy.
Yeah.
They are related to the Johnson and Johnson family,
Ooh.
and they inherited the trio $2 million a few years earlier, which amounts to about 30 million loonies today.
Wow.
We're talking a whacking amount of money these
Yeah.
3 had, okay? So Francis and Edward lived in a beautiful mansion. They had servants. They were upper class, as you mentioned. We are going to then talk about who did this. But we haven't focused on our last unknown character. We haven't talked about Jane.
Jane.
Now, Jane's puzzled you
Yeah,
a
because
lot.
somehow she is connected to the minister.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's, she's in his flock. Definitely, she's how people found out.
Okay.
Okay, she's our connection.
Okay. All right. Well, that's close to what the reality is. Cheeky looking Jane was our key eyewitness
To the affair?
to the murder.
Oh,
It's a murders. She was on the ground, so to speak. So let me tell you about cheeky looking Jane. She lived nearby on a pig farm and was instantly dubbed the pig woman throughout this entire affair. Okay? She claims to have heard her dog barking, and late at night she was concerned that there were thieves about on her farm. She gets up, goes out on her mule. Now remember, we're talking rural 1922, so
Yeah.
having a mule's not odd. She toodles out with her mule, and she comes across a setting of a group of people. This is what she says. She says 4 people are standing under our infamous crabapple tree.
Yeah.
All right. Late at night, she hears a gunshot. One figure drops to the ground, and a woman screams, "Don't, don't, don't." Frightened, Jane does the sensible thing, whips the old mule around and gets out of town. On the way out, though, she hears a volley of shots this time, and she swivels to see another figure fall, and a woman shout, "Henry!" So later, she embellishes this with lots of additional information. She says she went back even later to find a moccasin she'd lost, and she saw Mrs. Hall, whom she described as a big lady with white hair, kneeling next to the bodies and crying. So there's Jane Gibson, pig woman, local farmer. What do you think of her as our main witness?
if I was going to listen to her, I'd probably cut through a lot of it because, as you said, embellish some of it. I do believe she saw people,
Do you?
yes, because she had, like, she kept, like I said, it was like she knew what was going on. So and that was before you told me.
Okay.
So I know she saw something because she had information. I'm not sure it's 100%, but I'm definitely thinking if she described the larger lady with the white hair, she's not exaggerating
Okay,
because that's exactly how she looks.
right.
I probably would have skedaddled as well when there's gunshots.
I think I would have been out of there pretty darn fast.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm not sure if it was supposed to really end in murder, but I think once moved forward, and one of them had military training, that could be why the precision shots.
Okay, well, immediately Jane's testimony comes into question. Another nearby neighbor disputed the whole thing, saying she didn't hear anything, and that she also ran into Jane. I don't know what people are wandering around, but she ran into Jane around the same time, and Jane appeared nonplussed and said nothing. So
Yeah.
who's to know what really the truth is? Plus, Jane was later proven to lie about her husband. What he did for a living, she lied about. She lied about whether he was even alive. So let's just say her reputation for veracity wasn't great.
Yes.
All right? So we have two people dead, Eleanor and Edward. We have Francis, Henry, Willie, and Harry as possible suspects, and we have Jane as our witness. All right? Everybody's interviewed as time goes by. Nothing came of the initial discussions with these suspects, okay? However, time goes by and they talk to Jane even more, and she pushes Harry as being the murderer. Now, he had a pretty solid alibi. He was having dinner with friends, and the friends say he was having dinner with them. So they had a grand jury examining all the information and examining the siblings. What do you think happened after that grand jury?
Probably acquitted because there's not enough information.
Okay, well, the grand jury decided wouldn't even indict, so there
Yeah.
wasn't a trial.
Okay,
Right,
so-
not enough information, exactly. But then, about 4 years later, talk began again. And witnesses now claimed they felt that Mrs. Hall, Frances, knew all about her husband's affair, although she denied it. And she knew that they'd planned to elope, which is what you referred to at the very beginning with your cards, that
Yeah.
the spark was there, that they were never felt so passionate, and it was the rainbow,
Yeah.
you said, the excitement of possibly going off together. So you nailed that. And Eleanor's husband, James, who I think was totally a cuckold, knew about the affair and possibly their elopement as well. This is what the rumors had. Okay? This was flying around the county, and they decide to let's look into it again. They get a new prosecutor, and he actually issues warrants for Willie, Harry, and Mrs. Hall. Henry's alibi, he was away. They put him on trial with his sister and brother. He was the best shot of the group. He was the one who was military trained, and he was a marksman. And they were going to try Harry as well with them, but Harry somehow managed to get his trial set aside to be separate. So they actually had a trial of Frances and her two brothers. I got to tell you, for 1922, it was like one of the very first sex scandal murders ever in the U.S. to be really widely understood. And it was the largest trial with the most media frenzy in history, and all the way up to the Lindbergh kidnapping. So I encourage our listeners to nip back to episode 15 to hear how little baby Lindbergh was kidnapped. I'm going to ask you what happened in the trial, if you can think of it. James, Eleanor's husband, was never really a suspect.
No.
Oddly enough. And it might be because he was on his own. He didn't have any really accomplices that were known. And it was definitely a crime of more than one person to do this to two people in that manner. So he was pretty well in the clear. And Harry was set aside. Okay? So we've got the case against Frances, Willie, and Henry. Now, what do you think really happened that night?
Well, I think that the three are probably involved. I'm not sure about a fourth person.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm on the fence on that one. But I think that the first shot was more of anger.
And who got the first shot?
I think it was husband first, then her. Because I'm feeling this, but honestly, it doesn't feel this way.
Wait, you're stroking
Yeah.
your neck as if you're being cut.
I'm thinking the neck first because I could scream a little bit, then it's going to die out, and then bang, bang, bang.
Okay.
Okay, so I think he was shot first.
Well, that would make sense because he would defend her.
Yeah.
If you had tried to attack her, I would think.
Yeah, one would think.
Right.
It's a man who did the shooting.
Okay.
It is not a female.
Okay.
But if you look at her, she has that regal look. I'm in control of things.
Yeah, she's imperious to the world, yeah.
Okay, it doesn't mean that she didn't feel passion when he died because, she spent time with him, the Reverend Edward. But I would have said her and Mr. Mills would have made a better match.
Possibly. It often has the case, isn't it?
I don't think with Mr. Mills, I don't think he really cared. I'm certain he was well aware of the fact that there was something amiss with his wife. But the hard part is there's no physical evidence because they didn't treat the crime scene the same way we would treat
yes,
treat it
absolutely.
nowadays.
Yeah, it was.
So if there was anything, any footprint, anything, they've already walked over top of it.
Yeah, probably. Do you think Frances was there for the actual event? Or did she send her little threesome boys, men, off to do the deed?
I think the boys went.
Okay, but then Henry, the brother, has a solid alibi, so he ain't
Yeah.
there.
But there could be someone else.
Yes, there could be someone else, and we've not been introduced
Yeah.
to that person. You're right. You're saying 3 people go, all male. How they know to go to the Lover's Lane to get these people, I really don't know. I mean, is that the only place everybody in town area went
I
to?
guess
it
that
would be pretty busy, don't you think? They go there anyway, and they shoot Edward first. Then they attack, you're saying, Eleanor viciously, slashing her
Yeah.
throat, shoot her 3 times in the head, and then they cut out her tongue.
Yeah.
So,
Maybe
who
the
did
tongue-
that?
Maybe the tongue was proof.
Sorry?
The tongue could have been proof
Of what?
that she's dead. You know, it's not as though they're going to
Oh
take
my
pictures.
God, you mean they brought it home to Frances as a
Yeah.
gift?
Yeah, it's not as though they're going to take pictures. They don't have cell phones
You're
then.
right. No, and they don't say where the tongue went.
Went.
They don't describe it lying on the ground. Oh my God, Darcy, that's sick. That's really
It is
macabre.
sick.
Okay, that's what you think. When they went on trial,
They
What
said
happened?
she was there, that she orchestrated it, that she was the one who may have cut the tongue out. I mean, she could be careless enough, but I still know they were all acquitted because there wasn't enough evidence.
you well, at least you have a good sense of belief in the jury system.
Yeah.
That they were acquitted
And given-
based on not enough evidence.
And given the time frame and everything, you know, it was not uncommon for people to hastily on a jury say you're guilty, but they didn't. And I don't know if it's because money talks and money walks.
Yeah, and they certainly had a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there isn't enough proof, so I'm going to also guess that this is still an open case.
Well, the trial was pretty sensational, and the 3 siblings held their own, managed to keep from being crumpled on the stand, and so they really weren't shaken. But I've got to tell you, the most exciting part was the pig woman's testimony. You must look at image number 24. It's going to blow your mind. The pig woman at the time had just recently been diagnosed with cancer, sadly, and had been hospitalized. So they need her testimony.
Oh, she was in her hospital bed.
She's testifying from her hospital bed, which they wheeled into the packed courtroom. Can you stand it?
Oh my God.
I mean, talk about dramatic.
No kidding.
So she said, of course, all the stuff she'd said before,
Yeah.
right? But she was discredited left, right, and center. Who knows? To add to the drama, the defense brought her mother into the courtroom, positioned her mother to be directly in front of this bed in the group of people sitting.
Yeah.
And the mother spent the entire time her daughter gave her testimony, her mother shouted, "Liar, liar, liar."
Oh my God.
Can you believe it? I mean, just mayhem, I would imagine. And if I were a juror, I wouldn't know which person to believe.
But here's the thing, isn't it normally the given that on your deathbed you tell the truth?
Well, whether she was on her deathbed or not, I don't know, because she didn't die immediately, but she was certainly very ill. But imagine taking a person out of the hospital and pulling the hospital bed into the courtroom and having them lying in bed with their little hospital gown on, flat on their back,
Yeah.
giving their testimony.
And those beds don't sit up like the
No,
ones
and those
they
beds
nowadays.
don't sit up. So, yeah, she's flat on her back. I mean, talk about being in an
God.
odd and vulnerable position. Okay, so I thought that was astounding. In the end, though, as you said, if you can look at, I don't know if you can find the
Yeah.
last
Not guilty.
photograph 25, not guilty. Yeah. You pulled a card,
Yeah, I just wanted to see if they're guilty.
and what does it say?
Well, we have the 5 of swords. We have 2 people laying on the ground and a warrior above them with 4 swords.
So, what does that mean? The warrior above, I would think, was somebody who's like judging,
Yeah.
and the 2 people on the ground are being judged. And are they
Yeah.
guilty or not guilty? And there's only 2 of them.
Yeah. And the thing is that the way this adventure is coming down, I would say they are guilty.
Okay.
So I wonder if there were actually 5 people involved.
We only know the 3 siblings and Harry. We don't know if there were other people involved. There could well have been.
Yeah.
Now I want you to look at the last picture of Frances, number 26. When you see her, she's like, I swallowed the cat's meow.
Yeah.
Looking like I got away with it, but I don't know if you think that.
I think that too.
Well, as you said, it's still unsolved. No one has been judged and found guilty of these 2 people's murders, which is, a great shame.
Yeah.
Justice has not been served.
No.
So thank you, Darcy. That was fascinating, the idea of using the cards and then looking at the photos. I think that's a cool way to actually go, because it seemed to me you were able to really divine the story, in not just in general, but very specific from the cards, and then hone in more particularly when you saw the photographs of the actual people. I'm just blown away from the beginning, because I'm just looking at these cards. From the beginning, you said that it was an illicit relationship. You said that they were passionate, that they were possibly eloping. There was great excitement. You said that they were going to be judged. You said others knew about their relationship, that it wasn't a secret, even though they thought it was a secret. I mean, all these specifically, directly related comments you pulled from these colorful tarot cards. Mm-hmm. So well done.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Seeing Dead People, where goosebumps are guaranteed. We would love to hear from you with questions for Darcy about her psychic process, or suggestions for other mystifying situations you would like us to investigate. Please shoot us an email to info@radiosidney.ca with Seeing Dead People in the subject line. New episodes air on our website, radiosidney.ca, on the first Saturday of every month. Episodes repeat Saturday nights at 8 p.m. and Sunday mornings at 10 a.m., both Pacific time. All episodes are available as downloadable podcasts at our website or on our YouTube channel, Nicola Furlong Mysteries. I'm Dorian Mortis, weirdly keen on seeing dead people. This has been a presentation of Radio Sydney.